Hi, I'm Wayne Faree, professional stone carver. Today my friend Mike Haddock came in with a project that he had started. He wanted to produce the base of a fluted column. And he did a pretty good job with some very primitive tools. But he came in to see how we would put the actual flutes in a stone piece. And so that's what we're going to show you today. But first we're going to show you some pictures of actual fluted columns so you'll know what we're talking about. And we'll just like run a line around here. And then we know where our flutes begin and end. And then this is about an inch right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, this is a very flexible tape measure. I'm going to run it like this so I can see the numbers. And I'm just going to go an inch for the flute and 3/4 of an inch for the area between the flutes. So now what we'll do is, this is about an inch wide, this square, so we'll just come up like this on either side of it, and then we'll have our inch. But that's basically it. And then what we'll do is we'll make a round circle here so we know where we're going to stop. And also, if you don't have a sharp pencil, the width of the lead is going to throw you off. As it becomes less sharp, the lead gets wider and it's confusing. So what we're going to do, because this can get confusing, is we're just going to pencil in the area that we're going to cut. We're going to hang on to our tool. So that's basically the process. It can be a little deeper. So because of the width of our gouge, when we go deep enough to make it look like something, then our actual width of our flute becomes bigger than what we marked. But that's okay, as long as you're cutting an equal amount outside the line. Then you can come in with a piece of sandpaper. And then just darken that up a little bit. With limestone, when you sand it, it closes up the pores and shines it up just a little bit, makes it darker than the chiseled area. And we don't really have the ideal tool for this job, but that's the tool that we have. And so, if we come around to the other side, so that's basically how that's done, and this is not perfect, and I think it's kind of charming because it isn't perfect. Now, a lot of the columns that you see on buildings in the bigger cities like Washington, D.C. and New York and Philadelphia, those columns were probably made on what's called a planer. And so a planer holds a tool, and the column would sit on a bed that goes underneath, that moves underneath the tool. And as the depth gets down to where it's supposed to be, the tool gets lowered until it gets to that depth, and then the cut is done, and the column would have been turned just a little bit to start the next flute. And so that's why they look so perfect. That doesn't mean that they couldn't have been done by hand, but I think that they were probably done on what's called a planer. These actually, I think, should be a little tighter like we had them and a little deeper, but we do not have a tight gouge here at this time. We weren't really thinking about doing this, but not to make excuses, but this is how it's done, so you can see the process. And also, a lot of times, if you just scrape with your chisel, it gives it a dark color. See how that darkens up? And then it would also darken up if we blow it out with our air, which we'll do, but I'm going to give Mike a chance to move his camera a little bit. See, that darkens it up too. That's how it's done. Giving my tool a little bit of a head start with a flat chisel. pinched in a little bit. It should be a little bit smaller, like say a 3/4 inch gouge. And then you could come halfway and then halfway and get a smoother edge and whatnot. If you could just take a belt sander, this is a disc for a belt sander. It's 40 grit. Just roll it up tight. You know, this is what you can use when your belt sander belts break. Don't throw them away. Roll them up and they make nice little sanding tools. You roll them up tight, they're just stiff enough to get in there and make a nice sanding job. So you'll notice that when I start with this flat tool, I'm echoing the shape of this chisel because this is the shape we want. Basically just trying to help out this chisel get through here. So I've tipped it, this would be perpendicular, but I've tipped it to echo this shape. And then I've tried not to go deeper than where this will be in the groove. The bottom part of the tool in the groove. I don't want to go deeper than that. Now this is a nice crisp line because I haven't gone so deep that I'm undercutting the area between the flutes. And that's so really to have a different tool would be ideal for this. Something that was more tailored to this little project here. But for the sake of demonstration, I think that we've proven our point here. Wooden rasps are the best thing to use for limestone. Just a big, heavy, sharp wooden rasp. And you can do a lot of work with that. And you can find those at garage sales, flea markets. And because, you know, it's a dying art, but that doesn't mean you can't pick up a tool and bring it to life. So I hope you enjoyed the video.